You know that feeling when you're retelling a story and you find yourself getting stuck trying to remember someone's exact words? Well, today we're going to fix that. We're going to turn those clunky word-for-word quotes into a much more natural, flowing conversation. And we'll do it using a tool you already have, reported speech.
So let's say your friend says this to you. Now, repeating it exactly like that is, accurate, but wow, it's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? It kind of stops your story dead in its tracks.
Oh, for sure. There absolutely is. And the funny thing is, it's something you probably do dozens of times a day without even realizing it. We're just going to give it a name and really sharpen that skill.
And that solution, that superpower, is reported speech. Seriously, think of it like that. It's your secret weapon for telling better stories and just having smoother conversations. It's what makes everything you retell sound way more natural.
So here's the big idea. Instead of acting like a tape recorder, playing back someone's exact words, you're reporting the meaning of what they said. It's the difference between just quoting and actually storytelling.
Just look at this super simple example. I am tired becomes he was tired. See that? So much cleaner, right? It just flows. That little change is the magic of reported speech in a nutshell. All right, let's get into it. Here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the 3 core changes you need to know. That's your basic toolkit. Then we'll see how those tools work on statements, questions, and even commands. And to wrap up, we'll look at a few pro tips to really take your skills to the next level. To really get this down, you just need to wrap your head around 3 basic shifts. I promise, once you get these, everything else just clicks into place. This is the foundation for everything.
Okay, shift number 1, and this is the big one, the tense back shift. It sounds technical, but it's simple. Usually, when you report something, the verb tense takes one little step back into the past. So the present tense work becomes the past tense worked. Easy enough, right?
Now, this slide right here, this is basically your best friend. It's the perfect cheat sheet. You can see the pattern, right? Present goes to past. Past simple often goes one step further back to past perfect. And words like will and can become would and could. It's all very logical.
The second shift is a total no-brainer. You naturally have to change the pronouns to fit who's talking now. I mean, if he says, I will help you, it only makes sense that when I tell the story, I say, he would help me. You're just updating the perspective. And the final piece of the puzzle, words about time and place. Think about it. If someone says tomorrow, but you're telling the story a week later, tomorrow doesn't make sense anymore. So tomorrow becomes the next day, here becomes there, and next week becomes the following week. You're just updating the coordinates of the story. Okay, so now we've got our toolkit, the 3 shifts. Let's start putting them to work and see how they apply to the different kinds of sentences we use all the time.
Statements are your bread and butter. They're the most common and the most direct. I'm busy becomes she said she was busy. See? We shifted the pronoun from I to she and the tense from am to was. Perfect. And notice that little word that in parentheses? It's almost always optional.
So what about yes or no questions? This looks a little more complex, but it's really just a simple 3-step recipe. You kick it off with if or whether, then, and this is key, you flip the word order from a question back to a normal statement. Then you just apply the same shifts we already know. Now, for questions starting with words like what, where, or when, it's pretty similar. You keep that question word, and this is the part that catches everyone out, you have to change the rest of it into a statement. So it's she asked where I lived, not she asked where did I live. It's a small change, but it makes a huge difference. Commands and requests? They follow a completely different pattern, which honestly makes them kind of easier. You just use a verb like told or asked, name the person, and then use the to version of the verb. Close the door becomes, he told me to close the door. Simple. Okay, you've got the fundamentals down solid. So, are you ready to level up? Let's check out a few ways to add a little more flavor and precision to take your reporting from just okay to really, really good.
This is where your storytelling gets some real color. Instead of just saying said all the time, why not use a more descriptive verb? Did he just say it, or did he admit it? Did she just say it, or did she promise? These words add so much more meaning. And, as you can see, they can change the grammar that follows them, making your speech way more dynamic.
So, just when you think you've got all the rules memorized, it turns out there are times when you should break them. But it's for a good reason. If you're reporting a timeless, universal fact, like water boiling at 100 degrees, you don't backshift the tense. Same thing if your main reporting verb is in the present, like she says. The situation is still current, so the tense stays put.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? At the end of the day, it's not just about passing a grammar test. It's about being a better communicator. Mastering reported speech is one of the absolute best ways to make your stories clearer, more engaging, and just more natural for whoever's listening.
All right, so now you have the official toolkit. But here's a final thought for you, a little challenge. Start listening, really listening, to how people talk around you. How often do they stick to these rules perfectly, and when do they bend them? Noticing that is the real final step to becoming a master of conversation.